7 Forgotten World War II-Era Soil Techniques that can still help you grow plants stronger and healthier today. When you think about World War II, epic battles and ration lines might come to mind, but there's another front line where everyday people quietly pitched in: their backyards. Millions of families planted what came to be known as victory gardens, growing vegetables, herbs, and fruits in every spare patch of earth to support wartime food supplies and stretch limited rations. These gardens weren't just about planting seeds. They were classrooms in soil science, where gardeners learned forgotten techniques that help soil stay fertile, crops grow strong, and communities thrive together. Now let's dig into 7 of the most powerful World War II-era soil practices you can still use in your garden now. One, Victory Garden Soil Stewardship, Rediscovering Wartime Soil Wisdom. During World War II, millions of people planted victory gardens to grow their own food and support the war effort, transforming backyards, rooftops, and vacant lots into productive vegetable plots. These gardens weren't just about planting seeds. They were about caring for the soil underneath those plants. The United States Department of Agriculture and other agencies distributed guides that emphasized how soil quality directly affected plant health and yields, especially when commercial fertilizers were scarce or rationed. Victory gardeners learned to enrich their ground with what they had on hand: composted kitchen scraps, yard waste, and organic materials to build fertile, living soil that could support vegetables year after year. This focus on soil stewardship, feeding the ground instead of just feeding the plants, is one of the enduring lessons from that era. Today's gardeners benefit from the same principle. Healthy soil equals healthy plants. When you treat your soil as a living ecosystem rather than just dirt to stick seeds into, you create an environment where roots can grow deep, nutrients are recycled naturally, and plants are better equipped to resist stress and disease. Modern organic gardeners often follow composting and mulching practices that echo these wartime techniques, proving that the soil wisdom learned out of necessity in the 1940s still helps crops thrive now. Thinking of soil as the foundation of your garden, not an afterthought, can transform weak, struggling plants into strong, vigorous growers. Two, double digging deep soil. More air, better roots. One of the more labor-intensive but incredibly effective soil practices that gardeners adopted in earlier eras, and sometimes in World War II garden planning, was double digging. This technique involves loosening 2 layers of soil deep below the surface, not just the top few inches, to let roots plunge deeper and breathe easier. By breaking up compacted soil and adding organic matter down through the layers, gardeners could dramatically improve drainage, aeration, and nutrient availability, all key factors that help plants develop strong, healthy root systems. Deep roots also help plants withstand drought and nutrient stress, creating a more resilient garden that produces abundant crops. While many modern gardens don't require double digging every season, applying this technique when starting a new bed or restoring poor soil can yield noticeable results. Double digging isn't simply about turning over dirt. It's about starting with a blank canvas for plant roots to explore. Gardeners would trench a strip of soil, loosen the subsoil beneath, mix in compost or manure, then backfill with the soil from the next trench, repeating across a whole bed. This slow, methodical approach ensured that heavy clay or compacted ground was transformed into a looser, more fertile environment where roots could truly flourish. Plants growing in double-dug soil often exhibit faster early growth, higher yields, and better overall health because the soil physically supports their needs. Although it takes more effort than shallow tilling or surface cultivation, the payoff, especially in vegetable or high-yield gardens, can be significant. Gardeners looking to strengthen modern soil can adapt the double digging principle in less strenuous ways. For example, applying deep compost layers under a no-dig system or using broad forks to aerate soil without turning it over can mimic the benefits of traditional double digging. Either method works toward the same goal, giving plant roots space, oxygen, and access to nutrient-rich material. Three, composting soil the Victory way, turning waste into gold. Compost was one of the most important tools in the World War II gardener's toolkit because it turned kitchen scraps, yard trimmings, and other waste into nutrient-rich amendment for tired soil. In the Victory Garden era, every bit of organic material, from veggie peels to fallen leaves, was seen as a treasure that could be recycled back into the garden to replenish soil life. The result was soil that stayed fertile over time, able to support successive crops without becoming depleted. Compost enriches soil with humus, improves structure, and feeds the complex web of microorganisms that help plants absorb nutrients more efficiently. That means healthier, more vigorous plants with stronger roots, better foliage, and higher yields year after year. What made wartime composting especially clever was the economy of resources. When commercial fertilizers were scarce or expensive, gardeners relied on their own household and yard waste to create rich compost piles or trenches in the soil. They learned that compost didn't have to be fancy. A simple mix of greens, fresh plant material, and browns, dry matter like straw or leaves, left to decompose could produce a powerful soil booster. Modern gardeners still use these basic principles today because they work. Compost can support water retention, suppress disease, reduce the need for synthetic inputs, and feed soil life naturally. Whether you're building a compost heap, a tumbler, or layering materials directly on a garden bed, you're reviving a time-tested soil technique that endured long after the war. In many current gardening circles, composting is seen as an eco-friendly must-do rather than a last resort strategy. That's no accident. Composting grew out of necessity in times like World War II and has since become one of the pillars of sustainable gardening globally. Four, green manures and cover crops. Growing soil health the natural way. When gardens were part of the war effort in World War II, people quickly learned that feeding the soil was just as important as feeding their families. Instead of leaving soil bare after harvest, gardeners were encouraged to plant cover crops, fast-growing plants such as rye, oats, or legumes whose roots held soil in place and protected it from erosion. After a season of growth, these plants were turned back into the ground, where they decomposed and released nutrients, helping keep soil rich and productive without relying on synthetic fertilizer. This approach of using living plants to build soil made a big difference in gardens that otherwise might have suffered from depleted or tired ground. Even today, planting cover crops between harvests is one of the simplest ways to naturally boost soil structure and fertility, helping young roots access nutrients more easily and strengthening your garden long term. During that era, gardeners often sowed cover crops in the fall or winter, knowing that when spring arrived, they could turn those plants into the soil before planting vegetables. These crops not only added organic matter, but also improved drainage and helped create airspace in the soil so roots could breathe and grow deeper. Many gardens then produced healthier plants with stronger root systems and better resistance to heat, drought, or pests because the soil stayed alive and energized. Today's organic gardeners still use the same idea. Plant a soil-building crop when your bed isn't producing food, then mix it in before the next planting. This simple cycle of growth, return, and renewal keeps soil fertile while reducing the need for fertilizers or heavy amendments. Five, smart crop rotation, letting the soil rest and recharge. Another lesson gardeners learned during World War II was to avoid planting the same vegetable in the same place year after year. Experts encouraged crop rotation, moving different plant families through sections of the garden each season because each type of plant uses and returns different nutrients to the soil. By staggering where crops grew, gardeners helped soil stay balanced, which meant healthier plants and fewer pests or diseases taking hold in the ground. This rotating system eased the pressure on soil fertility and reduced the need for added fertilizers, which were harder to come by during wartime. Although the term sounds technical, crop rotation simply means planting your garden so that leafy greens, root vegetables, and beans take turns in the same patch of earth over several seasons. The logic behind this practice is straightforward but powerful. Some plants pull certain nutrients from soil more heavily, while others replenish what was used. For example, beans and peas, part of the legume family, help add nitrogen back into soil through natural biological processes, benefiting future plantings that crave nitrogen. Rotating crops also interrupts the life cycles of insects and soil-borne diseases, making it harder for pests that target one specific vegetable to build up over time. Gardeners who followed these rotation plans saw better yields and stronger plants simply by respecting the natural ebb and flow of soil nutrients. Even small backyard plots benefit from this age-old pattern. You don't need a big farm to practice rotation. Just a little thoughtful planning and seasonal records help you decide where each crop goes next year. By giving the soil time to rest and recover between heavy feeding plants, your garden becomes more productive and resilient, and the plants you grow can reach their full potential. Six, hilling and soil shaping, simple earthwork for stronger plants. An often overlooked wartime practice was the careful shaping of soil around plants to support water flow, protect roots, and strengthen yields. One basic technique known as hilling, piling soil up at the base of certain crops like potatoes or root vegetables, was commonly used to encourage stronger root systems and suppress weeds around them. By gently mounding soil around growing stems, gardeners help plants develop additional tubers or sturdy stalks, which in turn often resulted in bigger harvests and healthier plants. While hilling itself is not as famous as composting or crop rotation, it was part of the practical toolbox gardeners used to make every inch of soil work harder during resource-scarce times. The principle behind hilling is simple. Adding soil around a plant's base gives its roots and stems a more stable environment, while also reducing competition from weeds that rob water and nutrients. For crops like potatoes, burying part of the stem can also stimulate new growth points underground, leading to more tubers and a more productive harvest. Even outside of root crops, gardeners use gentle mounding to help channel water toward plants' roots and away from unwanted spaces, especially in raised beds or sloped gardens. These small earthworks were low-tech, but effective ways to boost plant health when inputs were limited. In modern gardening, this technique still has valuable applications. Whether you're growing vegetables, herbs, or flowers, thoughtful soil shaping around your plants can improve drainage, support strong root systems, and reduce weed pressure without any synthetic products. 7. Sheet mulching, building rich soil with layers. While not a term you'll find in every old gardening book, a technique similar to modern sheet mulching matches well with the resourceful spirit of World War II gardeners, who sought to improve soil without heavy tilling. Sheet mulching means layering organic materials like cardboard, compost, straw, or leaves directly over bare ground to suppress weeds and build rich soil from the top down. As these layers break down over weeks and months, they slowly feed soil life, creating humus that supports plant roots and improves moisture retention. This gentle approach mimics how forests naturally build fertile soil, and it was aligned with the mindset victory gardeners used when they turned yard waste into valuable garden resources. The beauty of sheet mulching is that it doesn't require turning soil up and down, which can disturb delicate soil life and bring weed seeds to the surface. Instead, the mulch layers work like a slow-release pantry, feeding microbes, earthworms, and other beneficial organisms that help keep soil healthy. Over time, these materials transform into crumbly, nutrient-rich layers that young roots can easily penetrate and thrive in. Gardeners using this method often find their soil holds water better and plants show stronger, more vigorous growth. For modern gardeners, sheet mulching is a simple way to build soil without digging or costly amendments, perfect for raised beds, new garden areas, or tired soil that needs rejuvenation. By layering organic matter and letting nature do its work, you're following in the footsteps of gardeners who learned to make the most of what they had during challenging times. Conclusion. From the grassroots spirit of Victory Gardens to the soil-nurturing techniques they popularized, the lessons of World War II remind us that great gardens don't come from luck. They come from understanding the earth beneath our feet. Whether it's feeding soil with cover crops and compost, rotating plants to balance nutrients, shaping soil for stronger roots, or layering organic matter to build fertility naturally, these techniques helped everyday gardeners succeed when resources were tight and challenges were real.